What it is, guys, it is your old boy Pilk, and pardon me if I toot my own horn for a moment, but I have got to say, I don't remember if we actually talked about it specifically on our discussion video, but I am, to steal the words straight out of the mouth of one of my favorite YouTube personalities, I am a great prognosticator. Now, we did have our dates wrong, so we finally have, you guys have seen it, it's been all over the Dokkan channels lately. Gogeta, or I'm sorry, blue-haired Gogeta, Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta, and Broly are coming to Dokkan Battle. Now, in our discussion, we discussed whether this was going to be a dual Dokkan Fest with URs, like it normally is, like SSRs that transformed into TURs, or if it was going to be a dual LR festival. And I said I didn't want it to be a dual LR festival, because I think we have just way too many LRs as it is. Most of the LRs are really good, and I like them, but I think it's getting a bit ridiculous with the LRs. And when they dropped the LR Trunks and Mai on us, it was perfect. I'm like, okay, now we know we're not getting an LR Dual Dokkan Fest. But when are Gogeta and Broly dropping? We still don't know for sure. Now, we're going to have a data download, I'm sure, after maintenance tonight. That's going to give us hit and all that stuff for global. I do unfortunately think that does rule out the possibility of getting this simultaneously with JP. Now, maybe. I'll talk about that here at the end. Maybe it does. We'll talk about that towards the end. But first I want to say, when we were talking about this, I straight up called it. And I don't remember if it was actually in the video specifically. I think we talked about it before that. And then we re-edited the video with a couple new people, and we didn't talk about types. But AGL Super Saiyan Blue Gogeta makes all the sense of the world. Physical Broly, to me, makes way more sense than AGL. I know some people are like, oh, he's going to be an int. Well, we know the free-to-play one is an int, but the Berserker form doesn't really lend itself to intelligence types. Look at Kale. When she actually attained her int form that we have now, it's the quote-unquote perfected form. It's more like a more sustained version of it. But Broly is that absolute berserker power that we saw out of Kale in the Tournament of Power, right? And it kind of makes sense because we know that the universes are two halves of a whole. So they have Kale as the berserker in their version, Broly's the berserker here. I'm guessing Broly sometime in the movie, potential spoiler warning, is going to learn how to control the power. A little predictable, but I think it's going to happen. Or they'll allude to the fact it could. Either way, I think it's just inevitable. But we called the types on them. I called them being URs and not LRs because everyone was saying it was going to be an LR festival. And I really kind of just didn't want to believe it was going to be that. Only because I just think we have too many LRs. It's just LRs, when we talked about this ad nauseum on stream, LRs have become kind of what SSRs were a year or two ago. Everybody strives to pull the LRs on a banner and blah, blah, blah. The featured card is still a major card to pull on banners, and the really favorite cards are, but we used to really celebrate when you pulled an SSR. Now that everything's guaranteed SSR, which makes sense because how many SSRs there are, pulling an SSR just kind of lost its luster. If you pull a featured card, you still celebrate, but we don't jump, we don't get super hype and break desks. Those are LR pulls. So while in one way I would say it is kind of a shame that they're not, I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad. Now, this is also, once again, speculation, because it does say you are there. I guess these are scans directly taken from VJump. The VJump leaked this morning. We'll actually have the full scans and all that probably tomorrow, by this time tomorrow. So we'll know a little bit more about all this stuff, but they're coming, guys. They're coming. And it says December of 2018. So any day now. Any day now. For all we know, when we get our data downloaded in Global tonight, they can get a data download in JP, and then we'll have all the details. As soon as we have all the details and the super attacks, I'll bring that information back to you. Now, the big question everyone is going to have, what about Global? All right, so I'm going to break something up over here for you guys, and I'm going to talk about this, okay? This is the release schedule for the movies out, well, all over the world, really. Japan, of course, was last week. Singapore is 2 days after Christmas. It's the day after Boxing Day. Okay? Brazil is the 3rd, Argentina is the 10th, Colombia is the same day, Mexico is the 11th, and we're the 16th. So we're like middle of the road in releases. And I know a lot of people were saying, oh, we're going to get it on the 16th because that's when, we, as the English fan base, gets it. Remember, the South American and I'd say that the whole Hispanic region are really crazy about Dragon Ball in general. Like, they're way more rabid than the U.S. fans ever were. So to drop it on the 3rd would be amazing for them. They run the same version we do. It's called Global for a reason. So it's not like, they can drop it on the 3rd in Brazil, on the 16th for us, etc., etc. When it drops, okay? Now, there's a high possibility they could drop this week. But JP just got basically some more information. They're waiting on a Christmas banner. Now, they could be the Christmas banner for JP. They could be. We are pretty sure ours is hit now, okay? It has not been confirmed, but it's been all but confirmed. Remember, a month ago, they were confirmed for us this week. So, what it looks like is happening, and I'll talk about this now. The data miners are finding information in the game, and as we talked about before, we've talked about characters that were brought into the game that were never actually released. The main reason being, actually, come to think about it, I think a couple of those characters were released just in different capacity. But what happens here is they test out different characters. Either the character works out or it doesn't, or they decide to hold it off for later. Case in point, look at LR Trunks and Mai. They clearly were a unit they've had under their belts for a long time. There's Super Attack animation. I'm going to do a whole Super Attack animation video. I'm working on it. Their Super Attack animations are way older than the Super Attack animations we're seeing now. Those are probably around LRVB times. So you're talking a year old at this point. So I'm sure that it was units they've been holding on to, and they needed a placeholder, and they were going to push all this stuff back to line up with something. Now, is that a dual fest? I don't think so. I say dual fest. It's going to be a dual Dokkan fest, like we speculated, but it's not going to be a dual festival between Global and JP. There's some reason they're doing it, probably just to avoid spoilers on the JP market. So, as far as that goes, we could get it then, but I highly doubt it. I think it's going to probably be around the 10th if I had to guess. It would make a lot of sense. The 10th is when it drops in Argentina and Colombia. It would be perfect for Mexico to hype it for the very next day. And the US the very, very next week. So, this would be a great slot to stick that Dokkan Festival in. And that's just about little less than 2-3 weeks after our recent Dokkan Festival. So, makes a lot of sense, guys. It'd be perfect timing to drop it on the 10th. Now, that does suck for Singapore and Brazil. I think Singapore is still part of the global. I'd have to verify that. But I'm pretty sure. I don't remember what countries they produce the game in, but I'd be shocked if Singapore wasn't one. So, that said, guys, this schedule is what you need to pay attention to. Not just this date. Like, this is our date. I have my tickets. Omnitoast and I are actually going to see it on that day. This is the first global release. So, I would personally think they would drop it then. But if they're not dropping it on JP during drop day, when the movie actually finally drops, then I'm going to say probably the 10th. That Friday. Is that a Friday or is that a Saturday? That's a Saturday, isn't it? Yeah. So, probably the 9th then. 9th or 10th. So at some point around that weekend, they will drop
them in the game at that point for global. I do personally believe. And you never know, they could hold it off too. We don't know. But that is a very, very solid fit for us. So that's when I speculate we're going to see these two units on global. I don't think we're not going to wait very long to see them. We simply are not. But as I said, guys, called the types, called it was a UR, called it was a dual Dokkan festival. I am sitting over here like, yay, me. Which is really goddamn conceited the more I think about it. But whatever. Look, it's not every day that we nail all. The other thing we nailed, the other thing I said in the video, if you watch the discussion video, is that we'd finally have a farmable Super Saiyan Blue for both Vegeta and Goku. And we do now. We have one for Vegeta. Goku was coming in the second part of that event. Look. The way they have it set up, Goku's gonna get a Dokkan Awakening. Frieza's gonna get a Dokkan Awakening. There's just no way about it, and I'm pretty sure Broly is gonna get an easy A along with the Dokkan Awakening. It just makes sense, guys. So that's the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm pretty hyped for this. Just rambled on long enough. Follow my Birdman. Hit me up on Booker. Like, subscribe. I'll lay your asses out with more hype stuff tonight when we stream.